I just thought I'd pop on and show you how I make my gluten-free granola. So it's a very simple recipe. I'm going to turn the camera around and go over what I do. So what I like to do when I'm doing my granola is combine nuts and a little bit of coconut and some seeds. And today the seeds I'm using are chia. And I also use some of these brown rice puffs, or sometimes, depending on what I can get, I use the buckwheat puffs as well. They can be really, really good. So I'll just adjust that down a little. Okay, and so the brown rice puffs just give it a little bit of crunch. And you can use any kind of nuts that you've got in your pantry. I do make mine a variety. I've still got some beautiful macadamia, so I'm going to pop some macadamia in. So what I do is I pop them into my blender, or you can use a food processor. You don't want to do it like so that it's a fine crumb though. You want to make it so that there's still chunks inside of that as well. And so I've got some walnuts going in. Now these nuts are all from Honest to Goodness. I use really good high quality pesticide free nuts, and make sure that they're all organic as well, because you don't want any kind of pesticides or yucky stuff in your nuts. All right, so that's cashews. So cashews, walnuts and some macadamias going in there. And so you can see I've got quite a lot of nuts. So I'm using probably about a cup of each nuts in there. I've got about a cup and a half of shredded coconut. So shredded coconut goes in, and my chia seeds go in. Chia seeds I use probably about maybe 3/4 of a cup. I'm not really measuring, I'm just kind of doing it by eye. And I add some pitted dates. So pitted dates, I've got probably about 3/4 of a cup there. There's probably about 15 dates in there, so about a handful just chucked in. And I add some cinnamon, so I like some ground cinnamon in my granola. And so we have this a lot for breakfast with some yogurt. It's one of those really healthy, yummy ways to get some protein and some good fats in the morning. So I'm going to pop that in, and we're just going to blitz that up until it's kind of like a nice crunch. We don't want it to be overly blitzed, so if you're using a blender, you just want to do a quick turbo. You don't want to overdo it. So I'm just going to let that come to life, and then we're just going to turn that on. All right, so that would be speed, about speed 6. Then make a bit of a noise. Kind of stop that now and check it. And so we can see that that's blitzed down the nuts, but there's still a nice chunk in there, because obviously when you eat it, you do want to get bits of nut, kind of toasted nut in there. So what I'm going to do now is add some maple syrup. So you can use honey, you can use any type of sweetener if you want to. You can add brown sugar. Brown sugar, you'd probably pop about a tablespoon in. For this one, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons into my granola mix. And I like maple because it kind of gives it that real lovely sweetness, but it's got that amber kind of taste to it, so it goes really well with the cinnamon. All right, we're going to go again. And then I just wanted to mix that around. I didn't want to overdo it, so it was like a couple of seconds. And what that's going to do is just help to really bring that mixture together. You see, all brought together. Look at that, that looks beautiful. Fabulous texture in there, if you can see that nice and clearly. That looks really good. So then what we do is we spread it over our tray. And so this is going to bake in the oven. And I'm going to bake it for about probably half an hour to 40 minutes on about 180. Because I really want it to have that real toasted vibe. About halfway through, so about 20 minutes in, I give it a bit of a stir so that it gets underneath that granola. I'm just going to use my spoon and flatten that out. And we're going to have a beautiful, crunchy granola. So my hubby is a convert. He eats granola with yogurt. He likes it. You know, so we'll both sometimes for brekkie just have, during the week especially, a granola with some yogurt. Sometimes for lunch, if we've had a bigger brekkie, we'll just have a small bowl of yogurt and granola. And so it is a beautiful way to start your day with that protein and all those beautiful fats from that nuts and all those omega-3s from your chia and all of that really good gut health and fibre from your coconut. And all the properties of cinnamon are really good for like your blood, really good for blood flow and things like that. So I'm not going to add the rice puffs until the end because obviously don't need too much of that toasted because they've already been puffed up. So that'll just be added when it's cooked. So it's just going to go into the oven. I'll show you when I pull it out of the oven what it looks like so you can see the granola's consistency and how different it looks kind of when it's raw to when it's cooked. All right, I'll be back soon.